Well, I was referred for mentoring because of my behaviour and why I wasn't achieving the grades I could achieve.
You see the similarities within the children, and a lot of them are going through the same circumstances and same problems, but yet some of them are dealing with it in a different manner, and others they may be struggling.
I've been having mentoring now for about a month, but I've had it before for a year and a bit, and it was to do with like family and friends and stuff, and feeling down a bit about stuff.
Often the same child will have several problems, so it may come from neglect, it may come from previous traumatic experiences like a family bereavement or loss, and after that often other problems manifest, like sometimes these children will be particularly vulnerable.
At first I didn't think it would help me. I thought, no, I can deal with my problems myself. But then when I actually got one and I spoke to her, and like I had a lot of things in my mind.
There's no right or wrong reason for having a mentor, and we do stress that in school as well. It's not something to be embarrassed about.
And we've seen a trend at SCAF that year on year we're receiving more referrals from all the schools that we work with, that children are feeling they need some guidance in, yet they don't feel able to speak openly to other adults.
There are an increased number of pressures, and things do change from generation to generation. So sometimes family structures generally in society change, and that has a knock-on effect in terms of how secure young people feel. And I think it's incumbent on us, and it's our duty, as part of our duty of care, to make sure that we're doing our utmost for our young people.
I think mentoring is a really important aspect in what we would class as a really crucial dimension of providing pastoral support for children. Obviously they come here for high quality tuition, but what we've discovered more and more is that there are other factors which mentoring will allow you to uncover and discuss, and that sort of breaks down some of the barriers really.
When you speak to a mentor, it's a complete stranger that you've never met in your life, and you don't see them outside of school. You're never going to bump into them, or like a teacher, you'll see them every single day on the corridor or in your class, and then when you talk to them and stuff, that'll bring back their memories.
The students have no preconceptions about what they're going to be like. They know that they're not judging them, and so they're very much balanced and able to look at things in a new way, which often helps the students.
Because the teachers and staff who work in a school are very much focused on their specific roles, and perhaps don't have that wider vision and perspective and that ability to take the time out from that role. And I think that's what sometimes some young people really do need, in addition to the support that we offer in school.
She's a total stranger. She doesn't know what background I come from or what's happened. She only knows what I tell her, so then she can't really judge me on what I tell her.
But with a child, I bring myself down and talk to them as a younger person. I make them at ease, so they feel they can just talk to me about anything.
There was a lot of trust. Like you have to build the trust, and once you build that trust, you can tell them anything. Like they become like one of your close friends.
And it's quite a simple formula. We have a stranger from the community that volunteers his or her time to support a young person on a weekly basis. And that compassion, that listening ear, that understanding adult ensures that the young person's difficulties and hardships in that moment are eased. We're based in a town called Nelson, which is an old industrial mill town, which has seen a lot of sort of deprivation over the years. So, who likes Nelson?
No one.
No one likes Nelson?
I like the tick.
So do you think we can do something to make it better? What do you think we can do to make it better? We can't do anything about the weather. Can we?
Theme park.
Theme park. What we were witnessing was young people stuck really in a cycle of poor achievement, a lack of role models. And unfortunately, when there's a gap in role models, it can often mean children choosing the wrong routes in their life. So in 2007, we applied for this mentoring project to try to establish a pool of volunteers which could then go into schools and support young people on a one-to-one basis. And so the project really was not just about helping children achieve academically, but it was also about trying to raise self-esteem of children, provide them with good role models.
I think that's what SCAF particularly allows us to do. It's volunteers from the community where the children live and work, and they've got currency with those young people, currency that perhaps some of our other colleagues in school would never have. So to have that is just such an important thing, because it's a dimension you don't get if you just try and do it with teachers.
Our volunteers come from all ages and all backgrounds, various careers. We've got mums who are at home, we've got people in between work, in between jobs.
People who, not just high achievers, but people who have shown that they've bounced back from really difficult times in their own life, and that resilience is possible, and that resilience can be learned. And so children who can have a volunteer that can teach those type of principles will often grow up to be stronger members of the community and stronger members of society.
So coming back to the children that we support, who haven't got the ability to put labels on the emotions and not to relate their behaviour to stress, which is related to negative thoughts, which is related to not being in the moment, we can now bring it back down again. But when things get blown out, what happens is the negative things get blown up bigger. And that's what we see. That's the fallout we get, the referrals that we get.
I would have struggled a bit if there was no mentor, because then I wouldn't know how to go onto the right path.
Looking at the issues that he had and trying to put them in perspective. Once we put them in perspective, it was a case of how he was going to deal with that, and to make him feel responsible of his actions.
Last year I was like messing about too much, but this year I sort my behaviour out and I become the form captain.
Again, he was struggling with friendships and things in the year group, struggling with home life a little bit, and just not settling down. Every single week we had a new issue that arose, whether it was falling out with his peers, not enjoying lessons and things, and we was a little bit of a loss really, where we could go with this young man. We put the referral in, and I think within a week or so he commenced work with his mentor. Parents report that at home things are much more settled, and in school we have no issues at all. He will come and find us on a Monday morning and say, what day is my mentor coming in, what time am I seeing him.
Before I used to just go out with my friends and all that, but in my spare time now I just go wrestling, and recently I won a silver medal in my last competition. It makes me feel proud that after I've won my silver medal, I had to go to meet the head teacher that congratulated me for winning.
He obviously values it because he's had an absolute transformation in all areas of his life really.
Hopefully they want to try and impress the adult that they're working with when they set their targets and when they set their goals. So we're hoping that this is something that drives them to be successful during the time that they work with the mentors.
Every time I leave that session, I think, I hope that I have made a difference there, and hopefully the next time I see him there is a change, or he hasn't done anything that he shouldn't have been doing the week before.
It made me feel like a really big weight's been lifted off my shoulders, and made me feel more confident about myself. I didn't need to hide anything. Like, I could smile without having, I didn't feel like I had to have a reason. I could just smile and be happy. And that, I know that if something bad's going to happen again, I don't have to keep it up inside of me. I know that there's someone going to be there that I can speak to.
One thing is, when you see the child developing personally, you feel good because you know that child is going to give something positive to the community.
Be able to see these young people at a very stressful time in their lives and help them, you know, differentiate between their past and their present. It's great to be able to help them build that space, and you know, there's transformation sometimes at the end of it. There's changes of mind, changes of heart.
I feel happier in myself, more confident in that not everything's bad and there's like a bigger world than what there is right now. You've just got to keep going, and that whatever happens, you're always going to get through it, and there's always going to be bad things that are setting you back, but that's just there to test you, and you'll always come through better and happier.
You know, the students that I've dealt with in the past where, for example, social services are involved, and they've said the strategies that the SCAF mentors have given them have made such a huge difference and really turned their thinking around so that they really can be a lot more positive about their studies and how they feel about themselves, and therefore it allows them to move on past the challenges that they're experiencing.
Since I've last had a mentor, like from when I was like 13, 14, I've just learned that not everything should affect me. It's not, I shouldn't take everything to heart. Like I should just brush it off my shoulders sometimes and just learn to be the bigger person.
I think we would be in a very different situation if we didn't have that facility, because the students really do benefit from it.
And also, young people are given access to volunteering and the importance of volunteering, and hopefully they grow up wanting to volunteer, maybe not just in mentoring but in other aspects of life where they know that they can give back into a community to make the community stronger. And I also think it really sort of supports things like community cohesion. We become a more tolerant society, we become a more respectful society by supporting and helping one another in initiatives like this. What difference do you think it made to your life?
To be fair, I don't think I'd be here, if I'm honest. If I'm being very honest, I don't think I'd be here.